Have you ever pulled up to a red light and found yourself staring at the bumper of a massive, brand new pickup truck? You know the one. It has more chrome than a jewelry store, leather seats that look more comfortable than your living room sofa, and a footprint that practically takes up 2 lanes. You look at that truck, then you look at the person driving it, and you start doing some mental math. You know that truck easily costs $80,000 or $90,000. You know the monthly payment is probably more than your mortgage, and yet the person behind the wheel looks like a regular person. They aren't wearing a tailored suit, they're wearing a t-shirt from a local hardware store. It creates this strange internal tension where you start to question your own reality. You wonder, what do they know that I don't? Am I falling behind? How is everyone around me suddenly able to afford a lifestyle that seems to defy the basic laws of mathematics? It's a quiet, nagging anxiety that makes you feel like you're the only one left playing by the old rules, while everyone else found a shortcut. Hi, I'm Ben. If you want to stop stressing about money and start building wealth, you're in the right place. I break down finance into simple, easy steps, so grab a notebook and let's dive right in. The truth is that we are living through a massive cultural misunderstanding of what it means to afford something. Most of us were taught that if you have enough money in your bank account to cover a bill, you can afford it. But there is a huge difference between having the cash flow to make a payment and actually being able to absorb the cost. We've entered an era where the monthly payment has become the only metric that matters, and that is a very dangerous way to live. If you've ever felt judged for driving an older car or felt a pang of jealousy seeing a neighbor's new SUV, I want you to take a deep breath. You aren't failing. The struggle you feel is actually a sign that you still have a grip on reality. Most people haven't found a secret well of wealth. They've just found more creative ways to hide the fact that they are drowning. We've normalized a level of debt that would have made our grandparents' hair stand on end. And we've done it so gradually that we didn't even notice the trap closing. We see these shiny objects every day, on our commute, in our social media feeds, and in our own driveways, but we rarely see the stress, the sleepless nights, and the sheer exhaustion that goes into maintaining that image. We've traded our peace of mind for the appearance of prosperity. When you look at the data, the numbers are staggering and, quite frankly, a bit scary. The average new car payment has climbed past $700 a month, but that's just the baseline. For the trucks and large SUVs that dominate our roads, it's common to see payments north of $1,000. If you think about that for a second, it's a terrifying amount of money to commit to an asset that loses value the moment you drive it into your garage. So how are people doing it? They are doing it by fundamentally changing the structure of debt. A decade ago, a 4-year car loan was the standard. Today, we're seeing 6, 7, and even 8-year loans becoming the norm. Some lenders are even pushing 10-year terms. By stretching the loan out over nearly a decade, the dealership can make a $90,000 truck look like a manageable monthly subscription. But the math behind this is a slow-motion car crash. When you stretch a loan that long, you aren't just paying for the car, you are paying a massive premium and interest just for the privilege of lower monthly overhead. By the time you're in year 6 of an 8-year loan, you likely owe far more than the car is worth. You are trapped in negative equity, essentially paying a high-interest mortgage on a pile of metal that is worth half of what you owe. Think about the mechanical reality of a car after 7 years. It needs tires, it needs brakes, and things start to break. Now imagine you are still paying $800 a month for a truck that needs a $4,000 transmission repair. That is the reality for millions of people. This isn't just about bad math, though. It's about deep-seated psychology. The automotive industry has stopped selling transportation and started selling identity. They know that a truck isn't just a way to get to work. For many people, it's a symbol of strength, capability, and success. When you see a commercial of a truck conquering a mountain peak, it's tapping into your desire to be seen as a provider or an adventurer. It makes you feel like that $900 payment isn't a bill, it's an investment in the person you want to be. This emotional hook is so strong that people will restructure their entire lives to support it. I've seen people choose smaller apartments, skip family vacations, and live on a diet of ramen noodles and cheap coffee just to keep the keys to a vehicle that costs more than their annual salary. It's a form of modern indentured servitude where your car becomes your master. You spend 40 hours a week working a job you might not even like just to pay for the machine that carries you to that job. It's a circular, exhausting existence. We see this play out in our families and our social circles. We feel the pressure to keep up, to show that we are making it, and we use our vehicles as the primary billboard for our success. But true success doesn't need a billboard. True success is the quiet confidence of knowing you aren't one missed paycheck away from a repossession. Beyond the monthly payment, there is a hidden world of expenses that people rarely calculate until it's too late. When you buy that heavy-duty truck or that luxury SUV, you're not just buying a vehicle, you're buying a whole ecosystem of higher costs. Insurance premiums for these high-value assets can easily run $200 or $300 a month. Fuel costs, especially when gas prices spike, can feel like a second car payment on their own. And then there are the specialized parts. A single tire for a modern high-end truck can cost more than a full set for a modest sedan. People are essentially building a house of cards where every single card is an expense that depreciates. They are living in a state of constant financial fragility. If a water heater breaks at home or a child needs braces, the whole system collapses because every available dollar is tied up in a vehicle. It's a high-wire act with no safety net. We have to ask ourselves why we are willing to live with that much anxiety just to drive something that looks impressive at a red light. Is the temporary hit of dopamine we get when we wash the car on a Saturday morning really worth the constant low-grade fever of financial dread we feel every other day of the week?
The turning point happens when you realize that your car doesn't care about your future, but your bank account does. There's a profound shift in perspective that occurs when you stop looking at a car as a status symbol and start looking at it as a tool. A tool's job is to be efficient and reliable, not to make your neighbors think you're rich. When you make this shift, you realize that every extra dollar you send to a car dealership is a dollar you are stealing from your future self. Wealth isn't the car you drive. Wealth is the freedom to not have to go to work if you don't want to. It's the peace of mind that comes from knowing an unexpected medical bill or a home repair won't ruin your life. When you see that shiny truck on the highway, try to see the invisible weight the driver is carrying. They aren't just driving a truck, they are driving a decade of their labor that they can never get back. Once you see the debt for what it really is, a thief of time, the shine starts to wear off very quickly. You start to see the beauty in a 10-year-old car that is paid for. You start to appreciate the scratches and the dings because they represent the thousands of dollars currently sitting in your investment account instead of the bank's pocket. You realize that the most luxurious thing you can own is your own time. Imagine for a moment what your life would look like if you didn't have that car payment. What could you do with an extra $800 a month? That's nearly $10,000 a year. That's a massive head start on a down payment for a home, a fully funded emergency fund, or a college fund for your kids. It's the ability to say yes to experiences and no to stress. When we commit to these massive loans, we are essentially saying that our current desire for a specific look is more important than our future safety. But the future has a way of arriving much faster than we expect. 7 years seems like a long time when you're signing the papers, but life happens in those 7 years. Jobs change, families grow, and priorities shift. If you are locked into a payment that consumes 30% of your income, you have no room to pivot when life throws you a curveball. You are stuck in a lane you chose years ago, even if it's no longer the direction you want to go. Breaking free from this mindset is the first step toward true financial maturity. It's about deciding that you care more about your reality than your reflection. So how do we practically navigate this without feeling like we're depriving ourselves? It starts with a simple rule, the 20-4-10 rule. If you can't put 20% down, finance for no more than 4 years, and keep your total transportation costs, including insurance and fuel, under 10% of your take-home pay, then you probably can't afford that specific car. It sounds strict because it is. It's designed to protect you from the payment trap. Another realistic step is to embrace the boring car. There is an incredible amount of dignity in driving a reliable, paid-off vehicle that gets you from point A to point B. If your car is paid off, that $700 average payment could be going into an investment account. In just a few years, that money could grow into a life-changing sum. We also have to account for the hidden costs. Big trucks mean big tires, big brake jobs, and massive insurance premiums. Before you sign a loan, call your insurance agent and ask for a quote. Often, the jump in insurance alone is enough to break a tight budget. We also need to get honest about our actual needs versus our perceived wants. Do you really need a vehicle that can tow 10,000 pounds if you only tow a small trailer once a year? Could you rent a truck for that one weekend and save $20,000 on the purchase price of your daily driver? These are the questions that lead to wealth. The math of car buying is often intentionally obscured by the sales process. Dealerships don't want you to think about the total cost of the loan or the opportunity cost of that money. They want to talk about how much you can afford per month. But if you look at the total interest paid over an 84-month loan, it's enough to make anyone sick. You're effectively paying for a car and a half, but only getting one car. And while you're paying all that interest, the car itself is losing value every single day. It is a double-edged sword that cuts into your net worth from both sides. Instead of being an investor, you become a consumer in the most literal sense of the word. You are consuming your own future wealth. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can choose to step off the treadmill. You can choose to drive the car that is good enough while your bank account becomes more than enough. You can choose to be the person who is secretly wealthy instead of the person who is publicly struggling. This choice requires discipline, and it requires tuning out the noise of a culture that tells you that you are what you drive, but the rewards are worth every bit of that effort. Think about the legacy you want to leave. Do you want your children to remember the nice car you had, or do you want them to have the security of a stable home and the opportunity for a debt-free education? Our financial choices are a reflection of our values. When we prioritize a depreciating asset over our long-term stability, we are sending a message to ourselves and our families about what we truly value. Breaking the cycle of extreme car debt is one of the most powerful things you can do for your family's future. It's about building a foundation that can't be repossessed. It's about creating a life where your worth is measured by the quality of your relationships and the strength of your character, not by the horsepower under the hood. It takes courage to be different. It takes courage to drive the older car to the family reunion or the office. But that courage is what builds a life of true abundance. You are not your car payment. You are the architect of your own future, and you have the power to change the blueprint starting today. I want you to remember that your worth is not tied to the year, make, or model of what you drive. It's so easy to get caught up in the comparison game, especially when the person in the lane next to you looks like they have it all figured out. But social status is often just a mask for financial stress. If you are driving an older car and building an emergency fund, you are winning. If you are choosing a modest used SUV so you can contribute to your retirement, you are the one who is truly wealthy. The goal isn't to look rich. The goal is to be wealthy and have peace of mind. Money is just a tool to buy you options, and the best option you can ever buy is the ability to sleep soundly at night without worrying about how you'll make the next payment. Progress isn't always flashy. Sometimes progress looks like staying in the slow lane in a car you actually own, knowing that you are headed toward a future that is bright, secure, and entirely your own. Be patient with yourself. Keep your eyes on your own journey, and remember that financial freedom feels much better than a new car smell ever could. You have the power to define what success looks like for you, and it doesn't have to involve an $80,000 loan. Take it one step at a time, stay grounded in your reality, and watch as your peace of mind grows alongside your savings.
Thanks for watching. Check out this next video to grow your wealth even faster. See you there.